elections in 2011 was held in the month of October, at a time where it was a heavily an election which is basically based heavily on identity and ideals rather than an actual program. Most runs in Egypt, and from my point of view, are based upon traditionally founded upon two things: financial capability, and then the second part, which is basically the rural part, is the running campaign is based upon family and clans. I mean, you're still in Upper Egypt, rural Egypt, family-based. It depends on who you are, what family you belong to, family ties and relationships. Part of having to be creative is basically running a campaign based upon a campaign strategy. This idea was pretty novice on how you can actually run a campaign based upon a central mobilization idea, based upon an outreach, which is you go out and canvassing, meeting the people, putting a program with actual content and actually selling content to people, as well as running polls. And a running poll was like a journey into space. The model in which I'm running is really based upon 4 items. So one thing, which is the fact that you actually need to meet people and do weird things for them. So we do a lot of those type of community services because we need to get people interested. And when they're interested, they talk to you. When they talk to you, they give you ideas. When they give you ideas, you turn the ideas into legislation. And then part of it is also through media management. Media is extremely important because not only does it help get you known by people, but it also helps circulate your initiatives and it gives you added pressure. At the center of it comes the idea of legislation. Some of the critical success factors, in my opinion, on running a successful political program or a successful run, at least in Egypt, would be through having a strong program. Content is king. Second, we have to have a skilled core team. I am not the product of me being any good. I'm just an average guy, but I have a big team. And then just you have to believe. Basically, and let's talk about some key stats. Part of running was based upon 3 things. First thing is outreach. One of my biggest ideas was actually to carry this forward, is that when people, this sort of duty of care, duty of service, if people want to find me, they can find me or they can find somebody who will get them to me. There are 2 key categories of things which we do in the parliament. One which is oversights, like request for questioning, request for clarifications. And then the second part is laws. All right, so major legislation, things which I kind of was very involved with. People with disabilities law. So hence came the healthcare reform, which is basically getting a single law for healthcare coverage, but also to expand the network of providers. One of the laws which was really good. Investment law, which is basically Law 47, 2017. So this law was enacted to facilitate investment with views on getting higher foreign direct investment, FDI. One law which is also will serve on the budgetary on the budgetary front, which is the civil service law. Not sure how much you know about the Egyptian budget, but we have a bloated civil service payroll. So part of trying to get what I call structural reform in the budget was actually trying to attack this part. Child support payment, shared custody, and visitation right are basically the biggest issue ever. You have to understand that also family law and stuff like that, you also, part of it is based upon the Sharia law, okay? And this is the most interesting discussion now, is basically, according to our constitution, second clause of the constitution said that the Islamic law is the base, or the foundation of the laws, okay? How much of the laws which are passed in the parliament are laws which come from the MP versus how much of the laws which come passed in the parliament are laws which come from the government. All right, for each 10 laws that are passed in the parliament, probably 9 are coming from the government. And as an MP, I have the right to oversight. However, you can take this as far as an istigwab, which is basically a request for, what is an istigwab? Interrogation, which is basically the roughest form of oversight. And this is the interesting part. And this is basically when they all come together now. So if they go into an interrogation, and if this interrogation, the minister did not pass the interrogation, then I could, as an MP, ask for a vote of no confidence. And if I ask for a vote of no confidence, the entire cabinet now needs to resign. The current campaign finances does not allow you to go there and basically collect money. So you're basically self-financing. You have £500,000, which is basically the maximum. If you're going to go into runoff election, 250. So we are talking about potentially running a campaign on $30,000 running a campaign in a district that has 1 million people, $30,000.